When we built our house, I designed and had framed and built this specific TV bump out cubby wall for the large flat panel display, the in-wall speakers and all that stuff. And I had occasion to pull the TV down. So let's take a look behind there, open view, and do a little bit of a tour, how I set it up, how it works and all that. All right, so here we go. This is what it looks like deep inside the cubby without the TV installed on the wall. We can see all the different stuff that's mounted in there. If I kind of start on the upper left and move around, we've got the Apple TV, that's the 2022 model, the latest 4K on a hide-it mount. Below that, Nintendo Switch in the dock, also in a hide-it mount. We've got that kind of breakout section, that white box, that rectangular box under the Switch. Inside of there, I've got 4 Ethernet lines. I've got a 2 outlet power plug, and that's where other cables kind of eject through the back of the wall. And those cable runs, those HDMI cables, like the aqua green colored fiber optic HDMI that go down to the rack, bring up the video for the PC. The optical cable that runs between the television and my Anthem STR that drives the living room. All those cables bundled up and coming through there. We got the big articulating strong XL mount there from Snap AV. You can see it's kind of extended and the bars there. There's other brackets that go on the back of the flat panel television that kind of hang and then secure onto those sidebars. You can see the white kind of breaks in the paint above and below the mount. I've had some different levels of stick-on LED lighting there, and we've had to move the mount a couple of times, and I haven't gone back and kind of repainted and cleaned up. You can't see any of that stuff anyway when the TV's hanging. It obscures the whole thing there. But those two lines of 4 strips, 2 strips each, that's some LED backlighting that I have behind the TV. It's wired down to a dimmer switch that's then connected to an actual switch. It's all on the Control 4, so I can have those dimming lights come up, over the course of a programmed amount of time when the TV comes on. Up in that upper right-hand corner is those 2 bands. That's a medium-sized kind of generic hide-it mount. I've had different stuff in there over the years. I've had a PC that I tried to put back there. Didn't quite work because of airflow and heat. For the most time that I did use that mount, I had a PlayStation 5 digital edition sitting in it. Was really great spot for the PS5, and again, keeps all the wiring, keeps the devices clean and obscured behind the TV. I don't have the PS5 anymore, but there's no reason to really take the mount down. I bought it, it's mine, it's there, and it's screwed in. So if I ever have a reason to hang something back there again, I've got some space for it. If I need to take that down in the future, I can do that as well. So this whole bump out is framed lumber, basically, inside the living space. Behind this is the actual framing of the exterior wall, but it's kind of all butted up against each other. In between the back, that dark brown section there entirely is a big old sheet of plywood. So enabling it to hold big flat panels like this 83-inch LG G2 OLED right here, 100-pound plus televisions. That strong XL mount has the strength to hold these kinds of TVs, and having that big sheet of plywood just locked down, secured to the framing and the structure and all that of the wall behind it, it's sturdy, very, very sturdy. These TVs, they're not coming down, and I've got space, so I did size this cubby space to be able to hold, all the way up to like a 97-inch, 98-inch TV. That's what I would aspire to in this room sometime, basically fill the entirety of this cubby with screen, and that would be great. Of course, not the most cost-effective televisions like a 97-inch G2 or whatnot, but we got 98-inch TCLs coming in 2023, so who knows? Someday, somehow, some way, I'll have this whole cubby filled up with a massive big screen there. So I've got big plans for this space. I want to do more in here with this bump out. You can see, a little to the left and the right, there's end up being kind of these pillars. That's where the speakers are installed. So the white grill speakers are the Focal 1000 series IW LCR6s. Below with the black grill is a Triad bronze subwoofer. Fits great. Phantom center speakers at the level of the television. The height of the television is at a great height, a couple feet off the floor, bottom of the screen for viewing. I think it all works out really, really awesome. Big screen, 2.2 audio setup. I do plan to make the speaker setup be a little bit more kind of modular on either side, and I do want to bring my processing gear for the room up here in the PC, bring it actually up here and get things a little more kind of put together in that way. But I've really liked this. I think if you're doing a living room, particularly if you're doing a new construction home, going built-in, going architectural, get your TV up on the wall, get your speakers kind of in the wall with it. This design has been fantastic. I had kind of open design and open ability to do this. Of course, it would be much harder to build something like this into an existing room. But since we did design and custom build our home, we had some latitude to be able to pull something like this off. And I would definitely, if we build another house ever again, I would definitely be kind of emulating this kind of design and structure and build in a future space. I do try to do the best I can back here with cable management. It ends up being a little bit of a jumble around kind of the rectangular opening and all the cables for the Apple TV and the switch. I try to keep stuff wired on Ethernet, so we've got power cables, HDMI cables, Ethernet cables for all the devices. When I had the PlayStation 5 back there, it's even more cables. So there ends up kind of being a little bit of a mass of wire coming out of that rectangular box area to the back of the TV. But you can kind of see I do my best with some Velcro strips here to tie these cables up, bundle them up as much as possible, try to take some of the stress off of any individual cable, prevent them from basically kind of tying up with each other, and keep a lot of the cable management kind of onto the back of the display as well. Some of these cables, like the IR extension cable, for example. So I have an IR receiver that converts to Ethernet, goes down to the rack to control volume on the Anthem STR when I'm using the Apple TV remote. The cabling for that is actually taped up, electrical taped onto the back of the LG. And LG has some really nice routing and structure and ways to hold cables onto the back of the TV as well. You can see I do need more plugs than I actually have here. There's 2 outlets, but I have more than 2 devices plugged in. So I have a couple of little Y cable, power cables. Those are just a couple dollars off of Monoprice. You can get a better view of the Ethernet connections there on the left. Again, four high-speed Ethernet lines in that plate on the left. And then the bottom plate is just open. Gives me the ability to have some access to fish wires through when I need to, get down there and take care of running more cables when needed. So there you go. If you have any questions about this, the design, the structure, the build of it, please post away in the comments. I'm happy to answer any questions. Again, I had kind of a unique opportunity to take the TV down and figured I would showcase this a little bit more. Thanks so much for watching. Please do all the regular YouTube stuff and come on back.